We are totally ready, Ben. Anyway, guys, welcome back to the second stream here on DreamHack. Ben was not really ready yet, but I was almost ready. I wasn't actually ready either. Ben just had the best chips of his life. Those were good. I enjoyed them.
I will eat more of those chips later.
As soon as this game are over, we're going to have one more awesome best of 3. It's going to be our first ZVZ of the day. So,
Okay.
Ben, I'm actually legitimately excited because ZVZ can be an overkill if you cast too many of them on a row. But this is our first of the day, and it's going to be an awesome one. And not just that, Ben, it's going to be a very important one as well.
That's right. Dimaga versus Nerchio. Who am I supposed to cheer for? These are two of my favorite guys in the world.
Dima was like your first favorite Zerg, and then like Nerchio really came up. As soon as you moved to Europe, you didn't even know Nerchio before that. And you're like, hey man, this like unknown Polish guy is actually really cool. I like him. Then he became your favorite player in the world, and then became like one of the best Zergs in the world.
Yeah, I was a Nerchio fan before it was cool, and I'm pretty sure I'm still the only Nerchio fan.
No, he gained a few fans.
Yeah, he's gotten a little bit of a following. Dimaga, on the other hand, is just amazing. Not because he's a great StarCraft player, because he's a fantastic human being. This guy is one of the best people that I know in esports. Just got married.
That is correct. Some awesome, lovely wedding pictures are.
Has a beautiful new wife.
Yes. Of course, man. You have to be really beautiful to marry Dima. It's like 9.5 or higher, otherwise you're just not qualified to marry Dima.
Yeah, she's like a 9.9.
No doubt about that. MTW Dimaga is of course our red Zerg spawning on the right top side of Daybreak. His record in Group C, Ben, is 1-2. He beat Targa but lost against Munchi and also lost against TLO 2-1. Nerchio on the other end is 2-1. He lost against Munchi, but he did beat two other players. Unfortunately, guys, I do not know who they were, as we've been so caught up in casting Group D.
Munchi's showing some pretty ferocious PvZ this weekend.
Yeah, I do know that Nerchio lost to Munchi, which is a little bit surprising. I think Nerchio did play Targa, so I guess he beat Targa. Maybe he beat TLO as well. Yeah, that actually makes sense, because this is the last game of the group. So he must have beat those two other guys. Man, what was I thinking, Ben?
So this is a big game. Dimaga's 1-2.
Yes.
So a loss here
Puts
pretty
him
much
1-3.
seals the deal. He's probably he's not gonna advance.
With a 2-3 record, it is still possible, but you're gonna need something really
Yeah,
sick
you're
and magical
your
to
fate
happen.
is completely out of your hands.
Exactly.
And you need some serious assistance. Nerchio is 2-1.
Yep. A win here.
So a win here seals the deal. A loss here means that he has to win tomorrow against the winner of the or whichever player out of the BYC that gets placed in his group.
There are quite a few strong players, of course, in the BYOC tournament. Titan, one of them. Horstem is here, the Dutch Protoss.
We're going to meet a lot of those guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an almost exclusively BYOC coverage day.
Yeah, as those guys are going to join in the groups, and we're going to see them play against pretty much each and every single player in this group. So for winning your BYOC tournament, or at least your bracket, you're going to get some sick exposure on the main stage of DreamHack. And hey, you might actually, it's going to be kind of like all eyes on you, man.
It's kind of like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Imagine if you won the BYOC event, Kev, and then it was just like, all right, we're gonna cast 5 of your matches in a row.
And you win all 5 of them.
To, you know, 30, 40, 50,000 people.
What I really like what DreamHack does though, Ben, is that like they play that BYOC tournament today, but then they don't force the same guy to play 4 or 5 additional best of 3s on the same day. Not that they are exhausted after winning the BYOC tournament, which obviously takes quite a while, and then they're gonna have to play their important group stage. Actually, they have time to rest and they play it tomorrow, which I think makes a lot of sense. And
I mean, they still have to play twice as many games, kinda. Not
yeah,
really. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, they technically they do, because they're gonna play the same amount of group games, and then they had to come to the BYOC. But they do at least get a night's rest and a night to think about their games and prepare.
And that is awesome, man. That is more awesome than anything.
I completely agree with you, Kevin.
Focusing on this game, we saw Nerchio going hedge first. His gas was a little bit later than the gas of Dima on the other side. Now, guys, we casted a game of Nerchio very recently in China, a ZVZ on Daybreak, which has to be one of the most bizarre games that we've ever seen and casted.
It was, of course, Nerchio versus Scarlet. It was a 40 or so minute macro game.
52, I think.
52-minute macro game that concluded in Broodlords and a Corruptor fighting against Broodlords and a Queen. And the Broodlords that had the Queen support ended up winning.
That Queen was like the most important Queen I've ever seen.
She was a hero. She was the Queen that every Zerg player wants to have on their team.
She was the Queen this world needed.
That's exactly right.
Also, Lynx, we're spotting the Baneling Nest over here from Dima. Dima, of course, not really trying to hide the Baneling Nest, Nerchio has shown us, Ben, that he loves playing around with Mutalisk, and once more he's going up to super quick layer.
Yeah, that
This
is
is
a
before 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wildly fast layer. He's not really going to be able to take 4 gases right away. As we can see, he's only got 28 drones right now. He'll probably go up to...
Yeah, I mean, you can take 4 gases, Ben, but it's going to be a little tough.
yeah, if you've got 30 drones and then you're mining gas with 12 of them, then...
yeah, then it's going to get tough for your math skills, Ben. How many do you have left? 30 minus 12?
It's 18.
Wow, look at you. Stepping up your math game.
Adding and subtracting is not that hard. It's just it's the counting and the multiplying and the dividing.
See Dima upgrading to layer now as well. Also relatively quick, considering the fact that he didn't really see all that much. These 2 speedlings running around in the natural. Dima always took down a probe. Did not happen though. Nerchio losing 2 links. Dima not losing anything.
Dimaga, I don't think is very aware of what he's playing against right now. Nerchio does drop that very fast Spire. He's now adding, or he has been adding the extra gases kind of as he gets the drones out.
That is such a quick Spire, man. That's like the quickest Spire I've ever seen.
It is in fact a very, very fast Spire. A couple of banelings being morphed outside the natural of Dimaga. Dimaga, where are those banelings? I thought I heard them. I have no idea where those banelings are.
Defensive banelings for Dima.
Inside the natural of Dimaga.
Yeah. Link's running around the map. Dimaga is going to play Spire as well, and that is really, really not good, Ben, because this of course means that the Nerchio is going to have way more Mutalisk, and then at the end of the day it's kind of like playing PvP when it's going to be Phoenix against Phoenix. If you lose one fight, Ben, it's going to be really hard. Now in ZVZ at least you can potentially tech switch into an infestation pit and try to get your infestors out. Which is something you cannot do in Protoss vs Protoss. You can try to go high Templars and feedback everything, but it's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a really awkward position. Now, it's not as grim as it is in Protoss vs Protoss. Because in PvP, if you get behind in Phoenixes, you're just kind of dead.
Oh, this one Baneling is going to connect with
nice,
so many links.
Nicely done there by Dimaga. A little bit sloppy by Nerchio to not be paying attention like that. But a small victory for Dimaga nonetheless. 7 mutos on the way for Nerchio. Dimaga's going to have the money for that many or more, Kev. So his position not quite decided yet. Nerchio doing the very intelligent thing, getting his armor upgrade.
Dimaga is going to try to do the same thing as Nerchio tried to do, Ben, but he's going to do it with way more units. He's also going to try to run a couple of links into the natural. I like what we see out of here from Dima.
So nice. He will definitely force a cancellation on that hatchery in the 3rd base.
But these Mutalisks, they might be able to force a cancellation on this hatch, even though the Mutas, of course, from Dima are going to try to save it. Oh, yeah, this is going to be real close.
It's going to be kind of close. It kind of depends on what these Mutas do. They're going to go after drones and overlords instead. And that's nice and all, but I think ultimately...
I mean, and most of the larvae is probably going to go into Mutalisk for a little while, no?
Well, you can't put all of your larvae into Mutalisk because they're just so expensive. I mean, like right now, Dimaga could invest 2 larvae in Mutalisk, and then he'd have a lot of money left over for drones or whatever else. The muta count right now, if we just kind of look at it, is very even.
Oh,
it's
Dima.
10 Mutalisks for Nerchio, 10 Mutalisks for Dimaga. The armor upgrade is being researched by both players, so this is going to be a surprisingly similar game. The lone advantage that exists in this game is the fact that Dimaga has a completed 3rd base and Nerchio does not.
And it's going to be delayed even further, Ben, as this drone will fall as well. Speedlings chasing all the Speedlings across the map. I don't think this is a fight that Nerchio really wants to take, as I feel Dimaga had way more links.
Yes, he does, and Nerchio forced to retreat. He does have a reinforcing wave of Zerglings, so he could fight at this Zelnaga tower. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Muta's even going to come over and lend some support as well. Nerchio's up like 15 supplies. Uh-oh.
And he's up 2 Mutalisk as well, almost 3.
Yes, almost 3 as Dimaga very nearly loses a Muta. He does pull it back just in the nick of time. Both these players are kind of committed right now to their tech paths. Neither can really afford to switch out of Mutas right now. The second you switch out of Muta in this situation, you just kind of lose. Dimaga's going to use a great transfusion there as these Mutas will be fighting amongst each other. Zerglings under the Mutas are brilliant because they absorb...
So smart by Nerchio, Ben.
They absorb the splash damage of the Mutas, and just like that, I think this game has been turned on its head. There's actually nothing Dimaga can do right now. He has lost control, and he knows it. Immediately he GG's. Such a subtle thing. Guys, what we saw there at the end of that game, Mutalisks against Mutalisks.
That was pure art.
Virtually even
Yep.
Muta numbers, I think they had the even
Yeah.
upgrades as well.
Maybe 1 or 2 mutas more for Nerchio, but I think they were actually still crossing the map, so I really think that was an even fight. And then take those 2 queens into consideration.
Yeah, Dimaga had a transfuse. You had queens shooting up. The lone deciding factor there, parking the Zerglings underneath the Mutalisks. And it sounds so silly, but when a Mutalisk attacks, it deals splash damage. But it's not splash damage like you get with a siege tank or a baneling. The attack bounces around, so it'll bounce to 2 more targets, dealing less damage to each of them. But if the Muta attacks a Mutalisks and there's Zerglings underneath, that attack could bounce down to the Lings, and so basically what I'm saying is it negates a lot of the damage. The Mutas take substantially less damage because the Zerglings are there, and it allows the guy with the Lings underneath to take a big advantage there. So great play from Nerchio. Small things make big differences as he takes game number 1. We're going to take a very short break. Game number 2 as soon as we're back. Welcome back to DreamHack 2012. Kevin and I were just discussing whether or not it's a good idea to invest in space travel.
I do think it's a good idea, Ben, but I think 12 million with the current state of the economy. 12 billion. Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't say million, I said billion. Must have heard me wrong.
I wish we had history, but
Okay.
definitely said billion.
I
But you definitely meant billion, so no.
Yes. I think that's a little bit too much, Ben, as there are so many poor people all around the world. I know that's a statement that you don't really buy, but I think 12 billion, you can do a lot of good stuff with that. And I do think that space exploring the universe is important. We want to know what's out there. You know, I am still waiting for the day that we're shooting out a rocket and it suddenly hits the wall. It's like the end. Like, I just want to see that. Like, that is worth my investment.
It actually blows my mind that things can leave our solar system and then somehow come back.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. How does that work?
Nobody.
Where does it go when it leaves Earth? Or maybe I shouldn't say solar system.
Maybe like the universe is round. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because you can still go up. Like it has. Where's the roof?
You know, we had this conversation with a strange man here. You were listening to his talking about
No, Ben. I did. Yeah, a little bit, but.
it's infinite in all directions. And he's speaking to the tracks that are
Before this game kicks off, guys, game number 2 between Nerchio and Dimaga, which could potentially be our last game of the day. I want to share this little bit of story. We met a crazy man at the airport. Ben really liked him. I thought he was nice. He was Dutch, but a little bit silly as he kept touching his nose while talking to us and kept talking about slime and dirty stuff. He was just a traveler, kind of like an old man with a big gray beard, and he kept talking about each and every single thing. And Ben found it amazing. I found it a little bit funny as on a certain moment he decided just randomly to start talking about underpants. He's like, yeah man, life is crazy these days. Like, think of underpants. Like, how many do we have? Like, I have 3 of them, and that's just bizarre. I was like, yeah.
That's not how the story went.
But that's what he said, no?
He was talking about, okay, this guy is amazing. He's been traveling around the world for like the past 50 years, just constantly. He's been to every corner of our globe, and this is a person that gets by with the absolute bare minimum. He has basically nothing but the clothes on his back. That's what he was saying. He's like, all I have is what you see. And I still have been everywhere. I've been to India. I've been through the Middle East. I've been to.
Yeah,
I've been all across South America.
This man said it's absolutely no problem to take your car and drive from Holland to India. He's like, oh yeah, you just go
He
to all the
said
countries.
it was absolutely no problem to take a car and drive from Holland to India in 1970.
He's like, yeah, I went through Iran, no problem at all.
He also said that you could buy a Kalashnikov, right? That's the name of the assault rifle, on the side of the road.
This man was
along the
nuts.
way.
He was funny, but he was a little bit crazy, man.
He was definitely a little bit crazy, but he was awesome. Like, this was a worldly person.
I thought the
you
best
should
thing
listen to this guy. You can learn from this man.
I think the best thing was like him saying like, I have 3 underpants. That's just crazy. He's like, yeah, you know my shirt. I can just wear my shirt all day. I wash it at night. I wear it again tomorrow. Why would I need another shirt?
Why is that a problem? Why does a man need 50 pairs of shirts or
All right,
underpants?
man. Why don't you cast entire 2013 in one shirt and tell me how it is?
I mean, that, you know, it makes less sense for us because we're broadcasters and we're in the public eye, and you know, it might not make the most sense for us to do that. Wear the exact same thing every single day, even though we do wear the exact same thing every day when we work at the NASL. But you know, in the context of this man's life, it makes sense. He has to travel. He can't really bring all of his stuff with him all around the world, so he has to minimize what he has. I thought he was amazing.
We're going to talk more about this man eventually, but man, this game is starting to shape up, so I'd say let's pay attention. As Nerchio went for a 14 pull into hatch, and Dimaga went into 50 pull into hatch. Now we see both players taking their extractors and starting to mine. This game, however, Nerchio is the one who took gas a tiny little bit quicker.
And as a result, has started his lean speed a tiny little bit quicker, and as a result, should be able to maintain map control as long as he has even or slightly superior ling numbers. Right now, both these guys, however, are just committing to their economies, making nothing but drones. Dimaga getting or that's Nerchio getting the earlier Baneling Nest. Did these guys switch colors on us?
No, Nerchio had to be blue. I think in the last game Nerchio was blue as well.
I get mixed up, man.
It doesn't really matter. Both players going for, of course, the Baneling Nest once more, but could very well be defensive Banelings. We see it oh so often these days. Dimaga also never tries to hide any of his buildings, or at least not in the games that we've seen of him so far in this tournament. Once more, guys, this is an important best of 3 for Dimaga. He's 1-2 in his group. TLO performed amazing in Group C. He's on top of the group with 3-1. Nerchio is still able to join him though, with a 3-1 record as well.
Yep, could very possibly be the case. Nerchio did beat TLO, so he would, I believe, finish ahead of him. I don't know if map score comes before head-to-head or not at DreamHack. Different tournaments have different rules for that. You mentioned that Dimaga doesn't really hide his Baneling Nest. Oh, this is an important scout for Nerchio, getting in and seeing that very fast layer. But I do want to point out that it's important, and a lot of Zerg players adhere to the philosophy that you just need to restrict space in your natural. It makes it much easier to defend. I think that's why we're seeing the Baneling Nest in the natural for Dimaga. Nerchio maybe not agreeing with me in that regard, or maybe just feels like he's good enough that he doesn't have to do that.
Dima made a spine crawler ban, but as soon as those links died, he decided to cancel the spine crawler. So just giving Nerchio the there's nothing to do here, man. Don't try to run by it. There's a spine. I am safe. But he's actually gonna cut a small corner and he's gonna cancel that spine. Both players going for super quick layer once more. This time, however, Dimaga is dropping a roach one.
I think we're gonna see a roach timing out of Dimaga, and that's a very effective way to play against the Spire tech that Nerchio's been favoring. Yeah, there's that +1. Okay, it's exactly what we're going to see out of Dimaga. I love it. +1 attack. Whoa, Infestation Pit going down too. I guess that's just kind of a safety net here against the possibility of the mutas from Nerchio, but maybe, well, is he going to start making roaches or not?
I don't think he's going to try to counter immediately, man. I think he's more just going to try to prepare for those roaches. He is morphing one Overlord into an Overseer, so this time he's going to be aware of the mutas a little bit quicker than he was in the previous game, because I think that was one of the biggest mistakes for Dima. Even though he was just a little bit slower, and it's always hard to fight when you have less mutalisks.
Yeah.
And you're both making the same thing, but he saw it so late.
Nerchio's got his third base down already. Now Dimaga starts to produce a few units. I'm a little worried for Dimaga. A roach timing can be really, really good against the build like what Nerchio is using, but he delayed his roach production for a long time. And while I can understand him wanting to establish his infestor tech,
I'm a little bit sad, man, that Dima just forgot about his Overseer.
well, he made a change. He's just kind of running around.
Yeah, but he still did not see the Spire. I'm pretty sure that he has a damn good idea that he's playing against Mutalisk once more, but I would love to see him just to get the confirmation.
It would be a nice thing to know, a nice thing to be sure of. We're going to see Dimaga start some infestors very, very soon. He's got the money for, I think, 3, maybe 4 of them.
First Roach out on the map as well. He's going up to 3 bases right now. I think it's going to be a little bit tricky to keep this hatch alive as long as the infestors are not out. We see Nerchio already preparing for the follow-up band this time. Getting an infestation pit and a Roach one on zone.
Yep, that's one of the things that Nerchio does exceptionally well. He always hits his transitions smoothly. 4 infestors are on the way for Dimaga. They're going to be a little bit too late. But I don't think he's at that much of a risk. He should be able to hold this third base.
It's going to be close because there are quite a few links over there as well, man. And it's still going to take 15 seconds before these infestors are out. It's going to be hard. The Mutalisk are trying to get there as quick as possible.
Zerglings and Roaches will repel the Lings of Nerchio, but the Mutalisks are the real problem. Here they come. Straight over into the third base. They're going to go to work on these queens.
Wow.
No energy for transfusions. That's a terrible problem. And Dimaga's going to lose at least those 2 queens. Hatchery is taking some pretty substantial damage. Here come the infestors.
It's a good first fungal, but I'm still not sure if it's going to be enough. He's going to kill 4 Mutalisks though if this continues.
He will definitely kill 4 mutas, and actually, even if he loses the hatchery or cancels the hatchery, it's been worth it at this point. He will cancel the hatchery. Lands that last fungal, guarantees that he kills only one
Mutalisk.
Ooh, that's a little bit unfortunate.
Or maybe 2. Maybe we missed one. Because I think Nerchio had 8 Mutalisk and he only has 6 right now. Yeah, so he must have lost 2. But still, I really like how that went for Nerchio.
I mean, if Dimaga kills those other 3 mutas, then it's a completely different situation. But now it's forced to cancel his hatchery a second time. Now Dimaga's actually in quite a bit of trouble.
Tries to counter with a couple of links on the other side of the map, but that is not going to work. These queens will finally secure this area. One more Overlord died.
I'm so worried for you, sir. He's down 14 drones. His tech is...
God, Nerchio transitioned so well.
Yeah, he really has. The one thing he doesn't really have going for him is the upgrade advantage. He's finishing at +1, whereas Dimaga's going to be down +2 by the time they fight.
It's pretty much always the case though with the player who's going to ignore the muta phase. He's always going to have a small upgrade advantage. I was actually watching quite a few practice games between Nerchio and Scarlet at BWC, and I was asking after the tournament was done for them, asking if they practice often with each other. Nerchio said like, not really, I prefer to play ladder. But while we are here, we might as well. So they're playing a lot of games, and there was one game where Scarlet just kept a couple of Mutalisk alive for the longest time. And after the game, as Nerchio was kind of talking to me during the game already, he's like, it's pretty smart. He's like, I often just kind of sacrifice my Mutalisk in a certain phase of the game. But Scarlet kept them alive for so long that even super late game, and then I'm talking about 35 minutes ZBZ where there are Ultralisk and Infestors out on the map, those Mutalisks were still kind of useful. And Nerchio said like, I should probably learn from that and try to keep my Mutalisk alive a little bit longer as well.
Reminds me a little bit of how we saw Rain play.
With the Phoenixes.
Preserving his Phoenixes just infinitely, seemingly. Nice catch here by Dimaga. Will lock down 3 more of these Mutalisks, but what he does not seem to be aware of is this huge attack squad on the left side of the map. Dimaga has not seen it. He's got no vision of the map at all, and oh no! Definitely this base is in big, big trouble. I don't even know if Dimaga has the units necessary to contend with this. He's down 12 roaches. He's down in the infestor count. He's got less energy.
I think the infested Terrans are what I'm going to do for him. He has more infested, man. He spent quite a bit of energy before the fight, but he should have more than enough infested Terrans to at least keep this hatch alive.
I'm not so sure.
Better concave for Nerchio.
Nerchio had so much more energy, Kev, and more roach reinforcements are going to stream in. Dimaga's got a couple more roaches that have just hatched that might allow him to barely hold. A few more Nerchio reinforcements showing up as well.
Oh, I love what Nerchio's doing here with a couple of roaches, man, going the other way around. He's going to pick up as many infestors as possible.
Wow.
Sick play.
Wow, just beautiful play by Nerchio. And even though those infestors were out of energy, it's still an important thing for him to pick off. He's up 40 supply right now. And a lot of it is drones, but a lot of it is also roaches and infestors. Nerchio is doing a fantastic job, and you know what's even more incredible? He secured a 4th base
during all this.
In the midst of that.
And already took those extractors as well. Dimaga has quite a bit of minerals saved up and just didn't really have the gas because his base has been under so much pressure. Right now he's going to continue mining of his 5th and 6th assimilator, so maybe he's able to stabilize eventually. Once more, the only thing that Dimaga has going for him is that he has slightly better roach upgrades. He had 2-0 in that fight while Nerchio was on 1-0. Nerchio is about to finish up 2-0 though, but this is when Dimaga is about to finish up 2-1.
Man, Kevin, Dimaga is a world-class Zerg player. He's an excellent, fantastic player. That defense was phenomenal, but I'm just blown away at how much better Nerchio looks. He's just he's always this game, the last game, he's just ahead constantly. It reminds me of something that my high school baseball coach said to me one time.
What
He
did
said,
say?
some teams are so good that they start the game 2 runs ahead. And
Wow, really? Is that like the impressive quote? I expect something better back.
no, it's just like when you reach a certain level and you're ahead even when you're even, right? And that's how I feel like that's how I feel when I watch players like Nerchio play.
Yeah,
You can say the same for some of these dominant Koreans like Hyun. Hyun starts the game, he's ahead 4 bases.
Hyun starts the game, he already won, Ben.
Yes.
Hyun starts the game, he throws up his hands in the air, he's like, yeah!
Hyun starts the best of 5 ahead 2-0.
Yeah, that's why he never loses in IPL Fight Club. Hyun is ahead 2-0 every single time they start. Dimaga did manage to max out after all, Ben, and there was a little while in this game where we thought that was not going to happen. But right now producing 19 roaches at once. And I mean, Ben, I have seen crazy stuff happen, certainly in ZVZ on Cloud Kingdom. Yes, the Nerchio is worlds ahead. But if Nerchio is really going to try to push the issue and is going to try to split up his army, Dimaga might be able to land a couple of great fungals, pick up some units, and he can perhaps switch it around.
You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, in-game ZVZ is about position more than anything else. And if Dimaga can get a fantastic position, if he can take a really good fight, he can still win this game. This is absolutely far from being over, even if Dimaga's down a base, and even if he's, had a couple of losing engagements.
Dimaga is moving out right now. Nerchio is a little bit split up, and this might be one of those moments.
Could be exactly what he's looking for. Dimaga's going to catch a lot of Nerchio's units on the right side of the map. The rest of Nerchio's army, I'm not sure what it's doing, as Dimaga just sweeps right through and takes about a 20 supply lead there. I think Nerchio's probably going to use that to create corruptors.
As he's actually making a lot of Hydralisks. He's going to remax on Hydras. Great fungals over here by Dimaga.
Fantastic fungals. That is a huge concave, and Nerchio might be in a little bit of trouble. He's going to try to remax, but he is frantically trying to disengage from this fight. He's going to lose a lot of units, and that is an excellent engagement for Dimaga. Nice couple of defensive fungals as Nerchio attempts to retreat, but Dimaga doing a fantastic job of battling back here.
Yep, having almost superior upgrades. He's going to get 2 armor upgrades right now. This is really the moment for Dima, but he has so many low HP
Yes,
units.
they're too low. He needs to back off. Yeah. Luckily, those infested Terrans are there to keep Nerchio from running him down. Supply-wise, this is a very even game, 186 to 191.
And this is the thing, man. As long as players max out, something is possible. Certainly when Nerchio is as sort of unorganized as he was for a little moment there. Dimaga really pulls back in this game. If we take a look at units lost resources, you can see that Nerchio lost 3,000 more than Dima did.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was just an instance of Dimaga really exploiting Nerchio's positioning. Here we go, another big fight. Lots of Hydras in the army of Nerchio, and that gives him so much extra damage output.
This time he was the one with a much better concave.
And he comes out of that with a pretty healthy supply lead. Dimaga in a full retreat, going to lose a handful of infestors.
Only has 6 of them left, 5 of them left right now, and none of them have any energy, and he's forced to cancel his 4th base.
While retreating, he did section off a small group of roaches to try and send a counterattack around the bottom half of the map, and I think this could end up doing some pretty solid damage. Nerchio is actually going to pull his entire army back to defend this, which is maybe not ideal, but ultimately it's necessary, and Dimaga's not going to lose anything. Just picks off a couple queens and pieces out.
Nice little hit and run. Ooh, forgets a couple of roaches, gets fungled.
Yeah, I think that was just a missed micro there.
Nerchio was setting up a sandwich anyway. Sandwich, le Nerchio. I would like that with sandwich. I think it would taste delicious. Unless I'm in between the sandwich. Oh, Dima not paying attention.
You got 2 Nerchios on either side of you, and you're stuck in the middle.
God. Wow, you can go so many wrong ways with that,
man. Somewhere a nerdy fangirl just lost it.
Hey, if I was a fangirl, I'd totally go fangirl for Nerchio.
You and me both, brother. 194 supply for Nerchio, 164 supply for Dimaga. And Nerchio is in a strong position right now, maxed out against a Dimaga who is kind of having a bit of a hard time deciding exactly how he wants to max out. Greater Spire just finished for Nerchio.
It's not the first time we see that, Ben. People are just waiting and waiting until they decide what they want to re-max out on.
Wait, did Nerchio make 2 Greater Spire? No,
okay.
No, of course not. I'm just stupid.
Nerchio makes 7 Broodlords now at once, though. I'm surprised that he had the supply for that. I thought he was being close to being maxed out.
Yeah, he was killing his own roaches and hydras there. He had to free it up. There was a mutiny in the Nerchio army.
Maybe it was cannibalism, man. Maybe these roaches were just really hungry.
Really hungry.
And Hyrule is like, hey man, that looks tasty.
I wonder what roach tastes like.
So it's like civil war between roaches and hydras. They all start fighting each other. I know.
Dimaga goes to attack and he just finds the whole army dead already. He's like, what the hell happened here, Nerchio?
He was like, ah.
And he peeks around his computer. He's like, what's up, man? And Nerchio's just shaking his head.
Yeah. Civil war. Nerchio's gonna move forward though, Ben, with 8 Broodlords, and that is scary.
This is almost impossible for Dimaga. Broodlords are the ultimate fighting unit in in-game ZVZ.
16 Infestors though, Ben. Is it possible?
No, it's not possible. Not with Broodlords in the mix. It just cannot be done. Nerchio is going to crush this fight. Dimaga's better bet would have been to counterattack somewhere and exploit the immobility, but instead, he is going to be crushed. Look at the supply swing. That is a 100 supply dip for Dimaga. Nerchio's didn't budge. GG gets called, and that is a 2-0 victory for perhaps the best Polish StarCraft 2 player.
Together with Mana.
Certainly.
But yeah, he is actually the current reigning
yeah.
Polish champion, as he won WCS Poland.
Over Mana. With that said, I think, has Mana beaten him after that?
I don't think so, actually. Mana has been in Stefano a couple of times ever since then.
Yeah.
Mana vs Nerchio is a highly anticipated match, which is possible.
It could happen in this tournament.
This could very well happen, as Mana, of course, went 4-0 today in Group B, and Nerchio right now is 3-1 in Group C. So he's going to top the group together with TLO. Excellent performance by Nerchio, who had a rough start today as he lost his first series today against Munchi.
But brought it back in a big way, and interestingly enough, guys, we invited Nerchio to play in the North American Star League, and he said no.
Nope.
And I was like, why not, man? It's a free chance to make a lot of money, get a trip around the world. He said, I don't like the format of your finals. I often lose my first best of 3 of the day, and at your event, that would mean I would be out. I
mean, we said this so often. We said this at many tournaments, and it's true very often as well. Nerchio, unless of course he has a very easy. What he also sometimes does is just goes 3-0, 3-0 in like 2 group stages on the road. That's what he did at Home Story Cup, like 2 times on the road.
Yeah, he's a beast, man, an absolute beast. Guys, that's going to round out our first day of broadcast here from DreamHack Winter 2012. Thank you so much for tuning in and sticking with Roddy and me on the second stream here.
We had a couple of really sick games.
We had
today.
some fantastic games. We're going to have even more fantastic games tomorrow. I can't wait. I know Roddy can't wait either. Please follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/Rotterdam08, twitter.com/MrBitterTV. And go pick up your tickets for the NASL finals, especially you Swedish guys. NASL.tv is where you can do that.
Yeah, Mr. Bitter, his invitation is still out there. If you live in Sweden, go or guy, doesn't matter.
I will require a Swedish passport for verification here, but if you live in Sweden and you want to come to our finals, you can sleep at my house.
I really hope there's going to be like 50 students in the year, like all in California. All Swedish people are going to be like, ah, Bitter.
It's going to be like the national
and they're going to like all walk in with crates full of beer and chips.
It's going to be the national Swedish ballet team. They're all going to come down.
Oh. This might have been the best idea.
They're all going to have to like crash in your room.
I'd be so disappointed if we don't have a single Swedish guy. There must be a Swedish guy somewhere.
Somewhere we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, it would be so awesome.
Guys, we're done. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, except afternoon, right? 1 p.m.
12.
Is that right?
12 or 1?
I doubt less
11
than that.
p.m.
11 p.m.
11 a.m. 11 a.m.
Up from that. 1 p.m. 1 p.m.
So
is
we were right after all, but it
1 p.m.
time
European time. That's like 6 a.m. on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And 3 a.m. on the West Coast. So for our American fans, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for watching. For our European fans, it's been a blast. We'll see y'all tomorrow. And for everybody else, ciao. Peace. We're done. Later.
Later.